I am Reed, I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. Alright, so let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you actually felt like your life was moving forward? Like genuinely forward, not just another week passing by? Not just another paycheck hitting your account and disappearing before you even know where it went. I mean, real momentum where you look back at the last 6 months and go, okay, yeah, I am actually somewhere different now. If that feeling sounds foreign to you, if your life feels like it has been on repeat for the past 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, then you are exactly who I made this video for. Here as the thing. When I was 24, I thought I was just lazy. I thought there was something wrong with me. I see these guys online talking about building businesses and investing and traveling the world, and I tell myself, well, I guess I just don't have that gene. I'm not the type of person who succeeds. And honestly, that mindset kept me stuck way longer than any financial problem ever did. Because when you believe you read the problem, you stop looking for a way out. You just accept that this is your life now. And let me tell you, that is a dangerous place to be. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence or even opportunity. They fail because they stay comfortable just long enough for their potential to quietly expire. And society does not help. In fact, society is basically designed to keep you on that flat line. Think about it, you go to school, you get a job, you pay your bills, you maybe get a small raise every year, and you retold this is the path. This is what success looks like, but nobody tells you that this path was built by people who benefit from you staying predictable. They want you renting instead of owning, they want you dependent on credit cards and loans. They want you tired and distracted so you never have the energy to ask the real questions, like why is my life not changing even though I am doing everything I'm supposed to do? I remember sitting in my apartment one night just staring at my bank account. I had like $47 to my name and my next paycheck was still 5 days away. I had a credit card that was maxed out. I had a car payment I could barely afford, and I had this knot in my stomach that just would not go away. I kept thinking, is this really it? Is this what the rest of my life is going to look like, scraping by, counting pennies, hoping nothing goes wrong because the slightest emergency would completely break me? And the worst part was I felt completely alone in it. Like everyone else had figured out some secret that I just wasn't smart enough to find. But here, what I learned. Nobody has a secret. The people who are doing well are not doing anything magical. They just doing a few things differently, and they redoing them consistently over a long period of time. And that's what I want to walk you through today. The 5 stages that took me from being a broke guy stressing over groceries to someone who actually has control over his money and his life. None of this is complicated, but it does require you to be honest with yourself. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Stage 1 is what I call stagnation, and I bet a lot of you are probably sitting right here right now. This is the default stage that most people never leave. It looks like this. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you scroll on your phone, you watch some television, you sleep, and you do it all over again. Your paycheck comes in your bills, go out, and whatever is left over gets spent on takeout or coffee or random Amazon purchases you don't even remember buying. You have ideas, you have dreams, you tell yourself you start that side hustle next month. You finally get serious about saving after the holidays. You figure out investing once you have more money, but next month never comes. The holidays pass and you still in the same spot, and slowly that dream starts to feel less like a possibility and more like a fantasy you keep around just to make yourself feel better. I stayed in this stage for almost 2 years. And I tell you exactly why, because it's comfortable, not in a good way, but in a familiar way. There's a weird safety in knowing exactly what's going to happen, even if what's going to happen is mediocre. Changing things is scary. Taking a risk means you might fail, and failure means you have to face the fact that you actually tried and it didn't work out. So most people choose the comfortable middle. They choose the flat line, and that is exactly what keeps them stuck. The hard truth I had to accept was that nobody was coming to save me. Not my parents, not the government, not some lucky break. If I wanted my life to change, I had to be the one to change it. And the first step was tiny. I mean, embarrassingly tiny. I started by just tracking where my money was going. I opened up my bank statements and I wrote down every single expense for a month. And oh man, it was painful. I was spending like $200 a month on fast food. I had subscriptions I forgot about. I was paying for a gym membership I never used. Just seeing it all laid out in front of me was like looking in a mirror I didn't want to look in. But here, the thing, awareness is the first domino. Once you see the problem, you can unsee it, and that discomfort becomes fuel. So I cut the subscriptions, I started cooking at home. I set up an automatic transfer of $50 every payday into a separate savings account. It wasn't much, but it was something. And something is infinitely better than nothing. The goal at this stage is not to get rich. The goal is to stop the bleeding, to build a tiny bit of control so you can start breathing again. Stage 2 is what I call ignition. This is where things start to get interesting. Because once you've stabilized a little bit, once you've got a small buffer and you're not living paycheck to paycheck anymore, you start to feel this energy. You start to believe maybe I can actually do this. But here, the problem. The people around you are not ready for that version of you, and they will unintentionally try to pull you back. I experienced this firsthand. I started getting serious about my finances. I was reading books and listening to podcasts and actually making progress. And I remember telling one of my closest friends about how I had finally saved up $1,000. I was proud of myself, and his response was basically, "Oh, that S cool, but that S not really that much, right? Like you need way more than that to do anything meaningful." And I felt that sting. It made me question everything. Maybe he S right. Maybe I am just fooling myself, but looking back, I realize he was trying to be mean. He was just uncomfortable because my growth reflected his stagnation, and that's a hard thing for people to face. So here, S my advice. Don't cut people off unless they re-toxic. But do be careful about who you take advice from. If someone hasn't done what you trying to do, their opinion on how you should do it is basically worthless. Be kind, be respectful, but trust your own path. The other thing you need to deal with in this stage is inflation. And this is something most people don't think about. You save up a few $1,000s and you think, great, I am set. But if that money is just sitting in a regular bank account earning zero interest, inflation is quietly eating away at it every single year. That $5,000 you saved so hard for will be worth less next year and even less the year after that. So you can just save your way to freedom. You have to make your money work for you. And this is where investing comes in. I know the word investing sounds intimidating. I remember thinking you need to be rich or you need to know what you redoing or you lose everything. But the truth is you can start with almost nothing, like literally $20. There are apps that let you buy fractional shares of big companies. You can invest in index funds that track the entire stock market, like the SP 500. Historically, over the long term, it's gone up. Not every year, but over decades, it trends upward. And the power of compound interest means that even small amounts can grow into significant money if you give them enough time. I started investing with $50 a month at it less than what I used to spend on takeout. And over time, watching that number grow became addicting in a good way. It shifted my mindset from I need to spend money to feel good to I want to save money, because watching it grow feels even better. Stage 3 is acceleration. This is where the real momentum kicks in. By now, you've got the basics down. You re-saving, you reinvesting a little, you not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. But if you keep going at the same pace, it might take you 20 years to reach real financial freedom. So this is the stage where you need to shift gears, you need to find ways to bring in more money, and I know a lot of people hate hearing that. They want to hear that you can cut your way to wealth, that if you just give up avocado toast and coffee, you be a millionaire. In 10 years, and look, cutting expenses matters in the beginning, but there is a limit to how much you can cut. You can cut your way to millions. At some point, you have to increase your income. For me, that meant starting a side hustle. I looked at skills I already had, things I could do decently, and I offered them to people who needed them. I started doing basic video editing for small businesses, nothing fancy, just cutting footage, adding captions, making it look presentable. I charged like $50 per volt IDO at first, and it was awkward, and I made mistakes, and some clients ghosted me. But over time, I got better, and I raised my prices. And that extra income went straight into my investments. If I were starting over today with no skills, no connections, and no money, I would do the exact same thing. Find a service that businesses need and learn how to do it well enough to charge for it. Social media management, copywriting, basic graphic design, virtual assistant work, there are so many options, and you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be slightly better than the person who has no idea what they were doing. The other piece of acceleration is your network. I know that word sounds corporate and fake, but hear me out. The people you spend time with genuinely shape your expectations of what's possible. If everyone around you thinks $50K a year is a good salary and investing is for rich people, you will internalize that. But if you start following people who are a few steps ahead of you, who are doing what you want to do, it changes what you believe is achievable for yourself. You don't need to be best friends with billionaires. Just find a few people who are living the life you want and learn from them. Consume their content, apply their advice. Let their success prove to your brain that it's possible. Stage 4 is expansion. This is where things start to get exciting. You've got cash flow coming in from your main job and your side hustle. You've got a solid investment habit. You've built some confidence and some connections. Now it's time to think bigger. The goal in this stage is to acquire assets that generate income without requiring your active time. Rental properties, dividend stocks, maybe even a small online business that runs semi-automatically. I'm not going to pretend I am a real estate mogul because I'm not. I own one rental property, and it's a modest condo in a decent neighborhood, but the rent I collect every month covers the mortgage and then some, and that extra cash gets reinvested. It's not passive in the sense that I do nothing. There are repairs and tenants and paperwork, but it's way more efficient than trading my time for money at a job. At this stage, you also need to think about the difference between assets and liabilities. And I'm not talking about the accounting definition. I am talking about the real-world impact. A brand new car that costs you $600 a month in payments plus insurance plus gas plus maintenance is not an asset, even if it looks cool. It's a liability. It's taking money out of your pocket every single month, and I am guilty of this too. I used to want a nice car so bad, I thought it would make me feel successful. But the smarter move is to drive something reliable and cheap and put the difference into things that actually build wealth. It's not sexy, but neither is being broke. At 40, stage 5 is mastery. And I want to be real with you. I am not fully here yet. I am working toward it, but I've seen enough to know what it looks like, and I know enough people who are living it to describe it accurately. Mastery is when your money works harder than you do, when your investments and assets generate enough income to cover your lifestyle, when you work because you want to, not because you have to. And when your focus shifts from accumulating more to managing what you have and helping others do the same. The people I admire most at this stage are not the flashy ones. They the quiet ones who built slowly and steadily and now have the freedom to spend their time how they choose. They mentor people, they give back, they enjoy their lives without needing to prove anything. And that to me is the real goal. Not a Lamborghini, not a mansion, just the ability to wake up and decide what your day looks like without money stress in the background. So here as my challenge to you, pick one thing from this video and do it today. Not next week, not next month. Today, open your banking app and see where your money actually goes. Cancel one subscription you don't use. Set up an automatic transfer of $20. Take one small step forward because the life you want is not going to fall into your lap. You have to build it brick by brick. But you can do it. I promise you. I am the most average dude on the planet, and if I can do it, you absolutely can too. Peace.